What's up, Met fans? Welcome back. Talkin Mets with Rob. Welcome to Mets Hot Stove Live Lockout Special 2 hour show, guys. Welcome back, guys. Thank you guys for tuning in to TMWR. Hopefully, everybody's having a good night, and hopefully, you watched the press conference with Rob Manfred and a little bit of update on the MLB lockout and negotiations. We will get into all of that. The first hour is going to be specifically on the MLB lockout and all the updates that we've got from Rob Manfred and all the other information that we got along with that press conference. And we'll talk about that. So once again, guys, please hit on that like button and hit on that subscribe button if you're new to the channel. We're with you until 7 o'clock tonight. So hopefully you guys enjoy the show. Let's talk baseball. Let's talk lockout. Let's talk Mets. And let's get going. Let's say what's up in the comments, guys. Don't be shy. Let's wait for a few more people to hit on the stream. And we will get going with Mets Hot Stove Live. So how's everybody doing today? Hopefully everybody's doing good. So far, so good. I do see Al, Transistor. What's up, guys? Yeah, Transistor, we're gonna get into that a little bit. Once again, guys, hit on that like button. Let's keep rolling in on that like button. The more likes we get, the more people are gonna come into this 2 hour special. Let's get more people in here. Stony, how you doing, bro? This is one of the live streams that really get me pumped up because there's actual news to talk about, and there's actual anticipation that we might get lucky with spring training starting a little late, but spring training games starting on time. We'll get into that in a little bit. And don't forget, hit on that like button, guys. Let's keep it going. Wait a few more minutes for more people to come in, and then we will get started talking about the MLB latest news and Rob Manfred's press conference. We'll get right into that. We got a lot to talk about with that. So far, so good, guys. Say what's up. We got Mets Nation, Lindor, Tegman, Joseph, Stony, Transistor, Al. What's up, guys? Thank you guys for tuning in. I'm a little more excited today after the Manfred press conference than I was in the last couple of weeks. I'll get to that shortly, but I think it's more good news than bad news, and I'll get to that soon. But the good news that I want to get to when it comes to the MLB lockout is many things. Basically, I screenshotted a lot of different information that we can talk about all the updates and stuff like that. So the first things first, we all know, and people talked about it in the comments already, about the universal DH, right? The universal DH is agreed upon between the players and the owners. The owners did agree with that. We kind of knew that was one of the negotiating tactics by the owners to get what they wanted from the deal. And it was obvious that the DH was going to be one of the things that were easily going to get approved by both sides. Victor, how you doing? Thank you for tuning in. So with the DH, we know what happened to DeGrom last year. Everything started with his elbow, his arm, his shoulder, whatever you want to talk about, whatever injury that magically popped up. It was because DeGrom was swinging the bat. It wasn't because he was throwing the ball every pitch almost 100 miles an hour. When he hyperextended his elbow, that's when things started to take a turn for the worst. And as much as I like DeGrom and seeing him hit, I'd rather him rest up on the bench and let that DH actually hit the ball and be a part of this lineup. And there's two good things that come for this DH for the Mets specifically, because let's be honest, guys, we're Met fans, right? The hell with the other teams. The hell with the Yankees. The hell with the NL East. All I care about is this team right here, right? So with the DH, what it does, it gives another year older Scherzer, who, let's be honest, he's been injury prone. He doesn't have to worry about hitting. We don't have to worry about DeGrom hitting. We don't have to worry about Carrasco, DeGrom, Scherzer all running the bases and risk getting hurt. That's a big deal for a rotation where you have three guys that are 32 and higher years of age. That's important for number one with the DH. Number two, this gives the Mets options when it comes to Cano, when it comes to JD Davis, Dominic Smith, Pete Alonso, when it comes to the DH. The Mets have options now. And I do think now more than ever, I truly believe because this DH is going to be implemented now, that Jeff McNeil will be traded for whatever it is, if it's for a pitcher or for another position player. The reason why is because I think Dominic Smith and JD Davis are more valuable with the DH than McNeil. I don't think McNeil can just be a DH and hit every game. And let's be honest, it feels like the Mets are going to give somewhat of a little bit of a chance for Cano to be the everyday DH during spring training. And the other thing that I like is that when you want to give a more of a defensive infield, you can DH Pete Alonso and put Dominic Smith at first base. And as I told you a couple of weeks ago with JD Davis, I do think JD Davis can be a guy who can bat 290, hit you 20 to 25 home runs, and knock in 70 RBIs when he's healthy, because he's shown he can do that when he's healthy. He can't play the field for the life of him, but he can hit. And the DH, I think, is a bigger deal for the Mets than any other team that I can actually think of other than the Dodgers when it comes to helping out a team. Not only it's going to keep our rotation healthier because they don't have to get up to bat, they don't have to swing the bat, they don't have to run the damn bases. And also the Mets have so many options they can use for the DH, where we can actually see the Mets going out and get another position player. If that's Chapman, if that's Bryant, pick your position player. And it also helps us using these assets that we have, because we have a plethora of assets at this moment, to get another big time arm in here in a Luis Castillo or a Carlos Rodon. So that's one thing. The second thing that I think is huge for the New York Mets, and this is something specifically talking about Nick Castellanos. And the reason why I bring up that name, the reason why we haven't heard it towards the Mets, is because he has a draft pick compensation attached to him, whoever signs him. But another thing that the owners and the players agreed upon is they agreed to a draft lottery, which is interesting, but specifically with the draft compensation, that is going away. So as soon as the lockout ends and the CBA is agreed upon, that automatically comes into play. So that means any team can sign Nick Castellanos without a draft pick attached to them, which is huge for the New York Mets, because we said it. There's a lot of players that the Mets could have went after that they wouldn't, and Nick Castellanos specifically, because of the draft compensation. It's not because of the money, because of the draft compensation. And now that I think of it, who wouldn't want Nick Castellanos playing left field for the New York Mets or right field? So that's another thing we have to look at. And that's a big deal now, because now it gives the New York Mets more options in free agency. Again, Merlin Full just said it. I'm going to throw it up there because that's a good call. What about Carlos Correa? It's a long shot, but now that the draft pick compensation is not part of the whole thing, for getting a player like Correa, like a Nick Castellanos, that's a big deal now, because we've heard that the Mets are going to get one more bat. Correa, Bryant, Castellanos are one more big bat in free agency. The Mets are expected to go around 300 or over $300 million with all the reports that we've been hearing over the last couple of weeks. So that's a big deal. The other big deal is that when it comes to the luxury tax, apparently in the new proposal, Rob Manfred said that it's going to remain status quo, with the penalties. There's 3 different levels of the penalties going over the luxury tax. First time offense, second time offense, third time offense. Each time is a higher tax. But that was wrong what Manfred said. Jeff Passan said that it was wrong. What is going to be in this new new proposal from the owners is this. There's going to be penalties now, not just money penalties, but penalties that can affect draft picks. So I don't know if the owners will go the players will go along with it, but instead of the Mets saying going over the luxury tax and paying a tax, they will also have to give up a draft pick. And I don't know, there's not a lot of information about it yet. We'll probably hear about it on Saturday when the proposal is given to the players. But when you look at it, it's probably going to be something like if you go over the luxury tax the first time, you might lose a third round pick. If you go over two third round picks. And then if you're at the highest level, you might have to give up a second rounder. I don't know if it's going to be that deep. We have to look into that more. But I do think that that's going to be a little iffy because that still stops teams from going over the luxury tax. But the good news is two things: the DH, which is going to tremendously help the Mets keep these pitchers on the field, especially DeGrom, Scherzer, and Carrasco. They don't have to run the bases. They don't have to hit. Number two, draft pick compensation attached to a player who got the qualifying offer is going to be no more. So as soon as the lockout ends, that goes into effect right away. So that means Nick Castellanos, Al brought up a good point, Schwarber, Correa, those guys who have draft pick compensation. I don't think Schwarber has a draft pick compensation, but Correa and Castellanos do. And now, with that being out of the way, now the Mets only have to spend the money. And that's a big deal because they're not going to lose their two draft picks that they have for this draft. So that's another good thing. The other things that we're going to talk about, and I'll get to your comments in a little bit, guys. Let me just check up everything. So I got everything ready to go. Alrighty, so let's see. Okay, so the other thing that it's looking like the owners are going to propose in this new deal given to the players is this higher salaries for younger players. According to Manfred, it's going to be substantially higher than the other two offer proposals that they proposed. So whatever the number is, who cares? I don't care. But as long as it's acceptable for the players, I think that's another thing. And one thing for sure, listening to the press conference by Manfred, he seemed very confident that this next proposal is going to be fair enough where the players are probably not going to accept that deal right away, but they're going to be a little bit more happier with a little bit more of the details. And I think giving a salary boost to these younger players that are making a league minimum is a big deal. That's one thing. The next thing, let's see what else we got. The universal DH, draft pick compensation. The other thing is the owners are also offering, and they are going to accept a 14-team playoff. Now, to me, personally, I think it's kind of a lot of teams. I think 12 is more than enough. I think that can be what the owners wanted to do in the beginning, but it doesn't seem like the players are going to go for that. So it seems like a 14-player playoff, 14 teams in the playoffs. I don't know how they're going to do it. I don't know if they're going to have the number one wildcard team make the playoffs and the second and third wildcard team play each other for, I don't know. But when there's 14 teams, if you really count it, there's 3 divisions, so there's already 6 teams. And what are they going to give? Another 3 or 4 teams in a wild card? That's a little crazy to me. There's going to be a lot of teams that are under 500 that probably will make it. It's good for the Mets. It's good for a lot of teams because more teams are going to make it. Fans are going to get excited because, as we've seen, you don't have to be the best team in baseball to win the World Series. You just got to be the hottest team. So that's awesome. That's another thing. The one thing that the owners do not want to do is revenue sharing, which was the players a big thing. The players wanted to increase. The owners don't want to talk about that, so that might be an issue as well. What else we got? And a quote that Manfred said regarding spring training: the status of spring training in there is no change to the scheduled date. So even if spring training starts a week late, there's still a possibility that the first game of spring training is still going to be played if the deal gets done in the next week or so, which is possible. And that's good because I'm supposed to be going to Florida at the end of the month for spring training, which I want to do, obviously. So it's a big deal for all of us. And I really hope that they get it done. And according to Rob Manfred in the press conference as well, he also said that he actually thinks that 4 weeks is more than enough time for the players to get ramped up for the season to start on time on March 31st. So, and that's what the players wanted. The players said it for years that 4 weeks is more than enough. It's mostly for the pitchers anyway. 6 to 7 weeks is a lot. So I think if they can get the deal done within the next week or so, spring training will start on time, which is nice to see. So let's get to your comments, guys. So I say what's up to everybody. Once again, guys, Al, Transistor, Stony, Joseph, Tegman, Lindor, Mets Nation, Victor, Karen, Merlinful. Who else we got? La Potencia, Nelson. What's up, guys? Thank you guys for tuning in. So if you just tuned in, I went over what Rob Manfred said. I went over what the owners and the players agreed upon, which was the universal DH. And they also accepted and approved for both sides the draft lottery. So now teams cannot tank for the number one pick. So if you have the worst record, you are not getting the number one pick right away. Now it's going to be similar to the NBA draft, where there's a lottery, right? It's the top, I think, 7 or 8 teams, or the bottom 7 or 8 teams that go in a pool. Obviously, the team with the worst record will have the biggest percentage, but now teams can't specifically tank to get that number one pick. So I think that was a big deal for the players, and now it's going to be in. Also, draft compensation attached to a player who got the qualifying offer, that's going to be going away. So as soon as the lockout is over, that's going to be a part of the new deal. And that means Nick Castellanos, that means Carlos Correa is all options now for every team who didn't want to give up a draft pick. So that's a huge deal, especially when you talk about the Mets needing another bat. Nick Castellanos might be a little bit cheaper than Chris Bryant. So that's a thing we have to look out for. Sean, how you doing? So that's good news. So with no further ado, let me see your questions, guys, and we can get to the nitty-gritty and talk all we need to talk about the Rob Manfred or whatever you guys want to talk about. I saw a couple of things here. Stoney wants Bryant. I see Lindor wants Schwarber. Stoney wants Bryant, Schwarber. I see Nelson Cruz with DH. I don't think the Mets are going to go the Schwarber route or the Nelson Cruz route, because I do think they want to leave that DH somewhat open for Cano and Dominic Smith, considering if you're going to use Dominic Smith at first base sometime to put Pete Alonso at DH. So I don't think you're going to see Schwarber or, Nelson Cruz. I think if the Mets had a blatant opening and nobody to really fill that DH spot, I think you can talk about Schwarber or Nelson Cruz. But at the moment, I think the Mets are fine. They got J.D. Davis, they got Dominic Smith, Pete Alonso, and Robinson Cano. I think that's more than enough guys that can actually fit in that DH spot with no problem. Karen, LGM. Transistor, do you still think we go after Bryant and Rendon? I think the Mets are going to make 2 more moves. Again, considering what all the reports, the Mets are willing to go around 300 or past 300 million in their payroll. That's another $25 million from where they are right now. So yeah, it will fit in their budget. That's for sure. But I do think a new kink is this whole draft compensation attached to a qualifying offer from player like Castellanos. That might be an interesting thing that the Mets might actually go after now, because Nick Castellanos is going to be at least $40 to $50 million less than Chris Bryant. And honestly, Castellanos can put up almost the same amount of numbers, the same numbers as Chris Bryant, maybe a little less, but not much less. So it really depends on, do you want Castellanos who can only play the outfield, or do you want Chris Bryant for another $30 to $40 million where we could play all over the diamond? all over the outfield, all over the diamond specifically. So that's something you would have to look at. Lindor, let me get your question up there. Do you think that we will go after Story now? Um, I don't think so, Lindor. I don't think so, honestly. I don't think he's a perfect fit, and I don't know if you saw the quote by Trevor Story. He does not want to change positions. I don't know if if somebody throws him $150 million and it's the team he wants to go to, he probably will. A-Rod didn't want to move from shortstop, but he did when he became a Yankee. So I don't think it's the right move for the New York Mets. I think they can spend their money elsewhere. And again, we talked about the players, Bryant, Correa, uh, anybody you could think of, Castellanos. I do think Correa is the one guy I think I can see him playing third base. I don't think he would have a problem moving, but I don't think Story wants to move. You got to remember, I think Story is probably not going to get a big time contract. I do have a feeling he might take a 1 year deal and come back next offseason when there's no shortstops that are bigger name than him on the market, where teams will be fighting for him. So Story, I don't think so. He's a good player, but I don't think the Mets are. If they didn't have Lindor, yeah, I could see the Mets going after him, but not right now. All right, Al. Let's see, Kyle Schwarber or Nelson for DH. I just said this, but let me just say it because you put up the question. I say no because I do think the Mets are more suited for the players that they have on the team currently, and to spend $40 to $50 million on Kyle Schwarber just to be a DH, I don't think it's worth it. I think you can use your money smartly elsewhere. And Nelson Cruz, even though he's still got power, I don't think the Mets are going to be using that D because you got to remember Nelson Cruz is specifically a DH. You're going to put a logjam on that DH position, and now when you want to give Pete Alonso a day off from first base, are you going to put him in DH and you're going to sit Nelson Cruz? It doesn't make sense. So I don't think the Mets are going to go that route. I think they have enough players that they currently have that can actually be the DH. Yeah, and that's the thing that was a big concern, right? DeGrom got hurt last year, not by pitching. I mean, it probably aggravated the injury, but the hyperextension that he had when he swung that bat early in the season was when he started to have that discomfort in his elbow, which led to other issues when he was throwing the ball. So now that we don't have to worry about that, now he can rest between innings. He can sit down, keep his arm warm. He don't have to be out there on the batter's box, on the bases when it's cold in April and parts of May during the season for the Mets. So that's important. And Scherzer, why not have an old man sit on the bench and not run around the bases like a madman? So, and the same thing with Walker, the same thing with Correa. Keeping these guys healthy is priority number one. There is no season, no World Series, no playoffs if either one of these two get hurt, DeGrom and Scherzer. So we got to keep these guys healthy at all costs, and the DH will help that. Victor, let me get to your comment right now. Don't worry, guys. I'm going to get to everybody's comment. We're here until 7 o'clock, so it's all good. Victor, I actually like your logo. It's really nice. I like that. The Bills with the Superman logo. Not a Bills fan, but it's a nice logo. Bryant would be the better sign. Like you said, he can play third and outfield, which are positions that are needed. Exactly. Again, when Nick Castellanos wasn't really an option, I think it's a no-brainer for the Mets to go out and get Bryant, but I do think Castellanos is going to cost a little less. He's a little younger, if I'm not mistaken, than Bryant. I think he's a year younger than Bryant, and he's going to cost about $30 to $40 million less. So the production is very similar. I'm going to check it really quick so I can give you guys a better situation, comparison, basically. So let's see. So last year, no, let me go to Baseball Reference. They like to combine it. All right, so combined, he batted 265. This is Bryant, by the way. 265, 25 home runs, and 90. I'm sorry, and 73 RBIs. Wasn't great, but it's pretty good. Not including all the position he plays. Now we're gonna go to Castellanos. and see what he did. So right here, he batted 309, 34 home runs, and 100 RBIs for Nick Castellanos. Every category he was better. And he played in 138 games. And he was an all-star. And he's 29 years old when Chris Bryant is also 29 years old. So they're the same age. So Nick Castellanos provides. Now you got to remember, he was in a bandbox in Great American Ballpark in Cincinnati. So putting him in a bigger ballpark, you got to remember, Chris Bryant, he played in Chicago for the majority of the season, half the season, where in April it's nearly impossible to hit it out of Wrigley Field. And then he went to San Francisco, where it's a cavernous ballpark. So considering that Castellanos played the entire season in Cincinnati, which is a bandbox, you could see the home runs go down to about 27, 28. But all around, he batted 300, Castellanos. He had 100 home RBIs, 34 home runs. That's a big time, stat line right there. And that's a big deal. And he's probably going to cost probably $30 to $40 million less than Chris Bryant, who don't have the numbers that Castellanos had. So would I want Chris Bryant? Personally, yes. I think he's more valuable to the Mets defensively, playing a lot of positions than Castellanos, but I can't mistake the fact that seeing Nick Castellanos, those numbers in that lineup, either behind or in front of Alonso, is a huge deal. And you know what? What it does, it gives the Mets more options. If the Mets fall and can't get a deal done with Chris Bryant, maybe they go after Castellanos or give him a 5-year deal for $100 million. Excuse me. So that's the thing to look at as well. Remember, draft pick compensation is not attached to players anymore when this lockout ends because the owners and the players agreed upon that. So that's a huge deal because you heard Sandy Olson, you heard Epler. They did not want to go after players that had draft pick compensation attached to them, like Castellanos, like Correa. That's a big deal. And now that it's going to be gone, that gives the Mets so many more options. And like I said, there's nobody that's going to be mad if the Mets get either Castellanos or Chris Bryant. Both are big-time bats. Let's be honest. The Mets can use another 25 to 30 home run guy in this lineup. We don't have many. There's not a lot of power bats in this lineup. I don't consider Lindor a power bat. I think he's more of a gap-to-gap hitter who can hit you 22 home runs, give or take. Besides Pete Alonso, there's not a lot of guys that can hit 25 to 30 home runs. Marte's not a big home run guy. Escobar, after that, besides that 1 year where he hit 30-plus home runs, he's not a big home run guy. We expected McCann to be a home run guy, about 20 to 25 home runs, but he didn't show a lot of power last year. So besides Pete Alonso, we need another power bat to help this lineup. And either one of these guys, both have 25-plus home runs. Castellanos have 34 last year. So it's important to understand that the Mets need another power bat. And either one will fit perfectly in this lineup. That's a good call by you, Victor. I don't want nothing to do with Trevor Bauer. I think he is a guy like Stroman, even though Stroman, I think personally, is a better guy overall, like a good person. He's got a family now. He just had a son. I think Trevor Bauer is so full of himself. I wouldn't want that guy in the clubhouse. I mean, I know he has good stuff, but I just don't trust him. I can't. Not to say that he did that to that woman. I mean, granted, according to the records, she wanted it, so to speak. But, a guy who treats women like that, why would you not expect him to do that again? And the last thing you need is to have a guy that you're going to have to count on in this rotation. And if he does something stupid again and he's out of the league again, the Mets can't afford to do that. So I say no. La Potencia, what's up, buddy? Merlin Full, it's funny. A lot of people are, I've on social media, on other channels, and just in general on the radio, stuff like that. People are dismissing the Marlins. I wouldn't be surprised if the Marlins go after Castellanos. the Marlins are always a team that always pisses me off because they always beat the Mets. And they're a team, like you said, Merlin, they're sneaky. And they have a very good pitching staff, which is always a pain in the ass. And on top of that, if they get a little bit more offense in that lineup, they're going to be a team that wins close games because their pitching staff is not going to give up a lot of runs. And that's the thing with a team like the Braves and the Mets, who are projected to be 1-2 in this division, are going to have to beat these teams like the Nationals, like the Marlins, to get above that 90 win total that everybody is projected. The Mets and the Yankees, I'm sorry, the Mets and the Braves to go above. So, I'm not sure what the Phillies are doing, but the Phillies are another team that you have to watch out for when this lockout ends because Dave Dombrowski, he always finds a way to make a big move. And I would not be surprised if he's a guy that goes after Chris Bryant or a guy that goes after Castellanos because they need another bat around Bryce Harper. I mean, Bryce Harper was the MVP last year, and they couldn't provide any offense besides him. Besides their pitching staff with Nola, who was garbage, and the rest of the staff that was garbage, the best pitcher on that team was Zach Wheeler. So the Marlins are a sneaky team. They've always been a pesky team, a thorn in the Mets side every single year. So Merlin Full, that's a good call based on the Marlins. With the 14-team playoff, the Marlins have a chance. The Marlins got the pitching. We know that. We've seen that. What Alcantara and them other guys, Sixto Sanchez, if he stays healthy, he's another big arm right behind Alcantara. And then on top of that, I can't remember the other. There's another guy that I know pitched well last year. I think he was a pretty good side. I forgot his name. But they got 3 quality to really good starters. And, you don't want to face a team like that, And luckily the Mets this year don't face them until, which is weird. They don't face the Marlins until, if I'm not mistaken, June. Because I was checking, because I wanted to go to Miami to see Marlins Park, because I haven't been to Marlins Park yet. I want to go there. I mean, I've been to the Tropicana Field before I've been to Marlins Park. So, or whatever the hell, like Lone Depot Park, whatever you want to call it. So I was looking at it. I don't think they play the Marlins until June in Miami. So we don't have to worry about them, but there's a big stack of games. All those 19 games from June until the end of the year, we face a lot of the Marlins at home and on the road. So let's hope that the Mets can find a way to beat the Marlins for once. Hater Suzuki Kershaw. I'm not very fond with Kershaw. I think he's going to cost too much money for a guy who will get hurt with back problems. Suzuki is another interesting guy, but there's going to be a lot of teams after him. But you know what? With Bryant, Castellanos, and Suzuki, obviously Suzuki is going to be the cheaper of those 3. But it really depends on what the Mets want. The Mets can get any one of these guys. It's just a matter of, do they want them? Because the Mets shown if they want them, they will get them. They wanted Scherzer, they got him. They wanted Marte, they got him. And now that you know that the Mets want him, they get him. It can be anybody you want. Whatever your heart desire, that's what's gonna happen. That's what the Mets can do. Because they have the money, they have the resources now. All right, let's see what else we got. Yeah, I'm supposed to get snow as well on Sunday, which is fine with me because I'm usually off on Mondays and Tuesdays from work. So let it snow because I'm home. But Sunday's gonna be a pain if it starts snowing by the time I try to get home from work. So, but let's hope not. But you know what? It's not a bad thing on Super Bowl Sunday when most people are home and getting ready for. I know some people are traveling to get to like a party or something like that. But just remain safe, guys. But once again, guys, let's hope that Saturday, when the 2 sides get together with the owners and the players, that a lot comes out of that. Let's hope they agree upon more stuff than not agree upon, because what people are talking about by the end of the week, next week, or the middle of next week, which will be what, the 15th and the 16th, a deal has to get done 10 days or about 10 to 11 days before the first game of the season of the spring training. So that's important to look at. And if you guys have been looking uh, with my videos about, I would say about 2 to 3 weeks ago, I did a breakdown on fail safe dates where spring training games could be lost, pitchers and catchers or spring training players arriving can be delayed, and season starting late. And I believe it was February 5th, which is past already. So spring training will be delayed. So that was on point. February 16th was the second date that I put where spring training games could be lost if they don't have a deal by then. And February 25th, if a deal don't get done by that date, there's a possibility that opening day could be in jeopardy. But let's hope that doesn't happen. There's some positivity. I felt like Manfred was very confident in the new proposal by the owners, and we don't know all the details. We know some. All the details will come out on Saturday when the players get it. So, Game for War, what's up? Ricky's Kitchen, what's up, guys? Oh, game. Listen. I understand about the DH. There's a lot of people, specific, especially National League fans who adore the National League rules. But what you have to understand, guys, is that if you're a Met fan, specifically, just focus on the fact that you don't have to worry about DeGrom, Scherzer, or Carrasco getting to the plate, risking injury by swinging, running the bases. It limits the risk of these guys, and we need these guys in the rotation to do anything this year. So, Game for War, I understand. I wasn't very on board with the DH because I love the National League rules. I love the double switches. I like a manager actually trying to manage. But at the end of the day, focus on the fact that this is going to prevent our three big guys in a rotation, DeGrom, Scherzer, and Carrasco, not having to work risking injury just to hit a ball, just to run the bases. After they pitch, they sit down, keep their arm warm, and go about their business. So focus on that game more. But I agree with you. Ricky's throwing up the trades. Davis Smith for Jose Ramirez. Ricky's Kitchen. That sounds pretty good. What kind of food's there? That's what I want to know. But just Davis and Smith is not going to do it, because Ramirez got 2 years left on his contract, and even though Davis and Smith, the Indians would take, you're going to have to put a top 5 prospect in there. If that's Mauricio, Vientos, maybe Ginn, that's what maybe gets it done. But you have to throw a prospect in there. But Ricky's Kitchen, let me know where's that at? Is that in New York? I'm curious. Spanish restaurant? Oh, let me know. I'll definitely, if you're in the area in New York, I'll definitely hit you up. Give something to that small business. That's for sure. AB, how you doing, buddy? Once again, guys, please hit on that like button. I'll be with you until 7 o'clock tonight. The first hour is all about the MLB lockout, the news, a couple of things that both sides agreed upon. And the last hour is just your questions and everything else that you want to talk about until 7 o'clock. So keep it coming, guys. Really appreciate all the support you guys been giving me. I've been doing this for going on 14 months. I started last December, and it's a lot of fun with you guys. So I want you to keep it up. If you can, share this content, share the stream on your social media pages, and give a shout out to the channel. And I do appreciate it. Puerto Rico. Oh, it's in Puerto Rico. Look at that. All right. But I do appreciate it, guys. So once again, if you haven't hit on that like button, please do. You guys know YouTube, the more likes you get, the more the stream pops up on people's recommendations. And that's what we want. All right. So it's in Puerto Rico. That's what I'm talking about. Unfortunately, COVID, when the Mets were going to play in Puerto Rico, I was going to go until COVID hit. That would have been where in Puerto Rico, Ricky? Ricky's Kitchen. Oh yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Rocky, what's up, buddy? Game four. Sorry, I missed it. That's true. Like I said, I do like to see Degrom hit, but again, if it keeps him healthy, give me the DH. That's what I'm focused on. I focus specifically on that only because I there is no playoffs, there's no World Series chance if DeGrom is hurt. There's no World Series or playoff shot or division if Scherzer's hurt. So keeping these guys healthy is priority number one. And if the DH helps with that, I'm on board. Lindor. I would do McNeil and Mauricio for Jose Ramirez. Now, see, that's appealing because Jeff McNeil has 3 years left on his contract, which is very appealing at a very reasonable rate to the Indians. And obviously, Mauricio, who is projected to be up this year, I don't know if the Indians will want another shortstop from the Mets. I mean, in a year and a half, the Mets would give them 3 shortstops with Jimenez, Rosario, and Mauricio. But they would take a player like Mauricio because he's supposed to be a star. So, and he's in the top 20 in the top 100 top prospects, along with Alvarez and Beatty. So that's a fair deal. Maybe we might have to throw another top 20 prospect in there. Maybe. I mean, I would even go as far as throwing JT Ginn in there and bringing back another pitcher like a Shane Bieber. I do that. That's for sure. That would really get me jumped up. Putting Ramirez at third and putting Bieber with Scherzer and DeGrom, that's a dangerous rotation. But that's not a bad trade. I think that's pretty fair. Westside Cabo Rojo. Okay, Rojo. Okay. I'm going to look it up right now. I'm always interested in good food. That's what I'm talking about. Ricky's. Sorry, guys. Don't mind me. Just trying to help out a small business. Alrighty. There we go. I see it. I see it. Alrighty. Here we go. All right. Got some. All right. 4.6 out of 5. I can't complain about that. Can't complain. Got a pretty good rating. Looks like some good food on the menu. Hey, guys, if you're in Puerto Rico, Ricky's Kitchen. West Side Cabo Rojo. I know that's a very white of me of saying it like that, but I don't got that roll off the tongue. I'm sorry. But, if you're in Puerto Rico, check out Ricky's Kitchen. We the East Coast Dodgers. You're damn right. Look, that's what Steve Cohen talked about in his opening press conference when he became the owner. He talked about that. He says he wants to be like the East Coast Dodgers. That's what he said, and he's doing that right now. Lapatencha, I know you brought that up a couple of streams ago about Torres. I don't think the Mets and the Yankees, even if it benefits both teams, like I don't think the Mets would do it. I don't think the Yankees would either. I don't think the Yankees want to give up on Gleyber Torres, and God forbid if Torres gets to the Mets and performs the way he's supposed to. I mean, it's just a black eye to the Yankees, and it's always scary when the Mets and Yankees make a trade because you always worry that the guy you trade is going to perform better than the guy you got, and nobody wants to deal with that in the same town. But you know what? Unless Torres is going to play second base for us, I don't trust him. Hey, Hayden, what's up, buddy? Hayden, there's still a possibility that the spring training game might still go on. So I still might see you in Port St. Lucie. So let's cross our fingers, right? Let's hope it happens. Rocky, a dangerous closer will put this team over the top. What, you mean Diaz ain't a top closer? I don't think the Mets are gonna get another closer. I know people talked about Hader. I talked about Hader. You know, I don't know, guys. I don't think the Mets are willing to give up a prospect or two, plus a position player like a McNeil or a Davis to get a Josh Hader when the Mets have their closer. As much as we don't like Diaz, he's going to be our closer. I think it's more important to put guys around him where we can go into a season where, like, all right, we got a solid sixth, seventh, and eighth inning guy, and bring it up, pass the ball over to Diaz in a closer situation. You know, there was too many times where the Mets, I think, mentally messed him up, putting him in games where he doesn't belong, which is pitching him 2 innings, eighth and the ninth, to keep the lead. That's not something that he can do. Putting him in a tie game in the ninth inning, not something he can do. He's a guy who works off the energy of being a guy who's closing the game. When we got a 1-run lead, a 2-run lead, a 3-run lead, wherever there's a save opportunity, that's when the Mets have to put him in. They have to stop making him, putting him in situations that does not make sense. And specifically, putting him in tie games, 2 innings, is just not smart. Once in a blue moon, you might have to do that in the playoffs. But if you have a solid sixth, seventh, and eighth guy, which, let's be honest, when you got Trevor May, when you got Miguel Castro, when you got Seth Lugo, these guys are solid enough to hold leads where you don't have to bring in Diaz for 2 innings or in a tie game. Of course, when you're at home and or on the road and there's not a save situation at home and there's not a save situation after the ninth inning, fine. But when you're limited in the amount of pitchers, Diaz is going to be the guy. We have to start embracing the fact that he's going to be here. And the one thing that you don't have to worry about, if the bullpen doesn't start off well, you usually get your bullpen arms during a trade deadline. So you can always pick up guys during the season to help out the bullpen. So I'm not specifically worried about the bullpen. Yeah, the Mets need another arm, and we can talk about that later on. But when it comes to the bullpen, just get another solid arm or two for the bullpen. And if we need another arm, you get them during the season. You see how this plays out during the season. And we'll have to wait and see with that. Bieber fever. I like it. I like it. But don't worry, guys. I got a nice video coming up for tomorrow. It's probably going to come out around midday, maybe about 3 or 4 o'clock tomorrow. I got something on my sleeve that I think you guys are going to like, and it's going to interest you because we talked about it today. And I'm not going to give it away because I want you to watch the video. So tune in tomorrow around 4 o'clock when that video goes up. Trade for Aroldis Chapman. Oh, God. He's worse than Diaz. That guy is ready to explode. Let him implode in the ninth inning for the Yankees. Let him give up another home run to Altuve in the playoffs. I think it would be terrible because I can't go without baseball on time. I tell you that right now. Baseball is my favorite sport. Yes, I love hockey. It would be in the playoffs with my Rangers at that time, but I need baseball to start on time. Look, there's too much money, Lindor, for the owners and the players to lose. If they miss a full month of a season, they're not going to do that. One of the sides are going to be disappointed at the end of the CBA when they agree upon it. But each one of them will have money in their pockets when they start on time. That's what they both want. So all this nonsense that, with you heard Garrett Cole, you heard a couple of other players about how 100 players came together and they're united and blah, blah, blah. I don't want to hear. I don't care, right? There's millionaires fighting against billionaires. That's the way I see it. We are the working man, right? We pay that ridiculous $12 hot dog and that $15 beer, right? We pay that. They don't worry about that. And the one thing that pisses me off with the players and one thing that pisses me off about the owners is that they don't take into consideration that not giving an answer directly about spring training starting on time or not is that there's a lot of people, including myself, that go down for spring training every year in the end of February, in the beginning of the spring training games to watch games. And people take vacation from work, book their flights, book their hotels, book their car rentals, and some people don't have refundable trips. So that means some people are going to get screwed if spring training don't start on time. Now, I'm usually smart enough to do refundable vacation packages with hotel and flight. My car rental is with my job, so I'm not worried about that. But there's some people who booked flights, booked hotels that are not refundable. So these people are losing their hard-earned money because of these idiots that can't come up with a deal. That's a huge deal, but I do not think they're going to start in May. They're going to start on time. Way too much money to lose. Look, I think everybody's available considering for Cleveland. If there's a good enough deal out there, I think the Mets can get Jose Ramirez and Bieber. Yes, you're going to have to give up a Mauricio, maybe a JT Ginn, maybe a McNeil, maybe another top 20 prospect. I do that in a heartbeat. I think Shane Bieber is absolutely phenomenal. He was injured last year a little bit, but overall he's a damn good pitcher. And put in Jose Ramirez, who is another big bat, in this lineup, and put him at third base, which basically solidifies that infield with Escobar going to second base, which McNeil is expendable in that trade. With Mauricio JT Ginn, give me Jose Ramirez, give me Justin Bieber right now. I do that the day the lockout ends. Some beef stew on them. See what else we got. Yeah, we can keep Chapman to the Yankees, please. God, no. Oh, yeah, that's right. Mike Broussard, that's right. He hit that big home run during that pandemic year. You're right. Oh, those are epic. Him and Edwin Diaz and Chapman with the smiling faces after they give up a big home run. I'm sorry. Mister, did you answer the question about streaming Saturday? I was eating. I'm gonna be. You know what? I didn't even think of that. Since that the players are gonna get the proposal, I should go. I should stream do a live stream for that. You know, Estonia, I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna put it up today. Either today or tomorrow. I'm gonna put up the live stream so you guys can like the stream early so we can get more people involved so we can talk about it. So it's going to be specifically about the lockout. So that's a good call, Stoney. Yeah, I'm going to definitely do that. But keep on eating. Michael, not Justin Bieber, Shane Bieber. Yeah, look, I'm not very big on pitchers that don't pitch well in the playoffs, specifically starting pitchers. The Indians were heavily involved with Bieber being one of the main guys and Plesac as well. So, they counted on him a lot. And I don't see him as an ace. I see him as a solid number 2 and a damn good number 3. And in this position, in this rotation, he would be a number 3 easily. And that's less pressure on him, and I think that's going to help him overall. He was one of the guys, the big men, all the eyes on him in Cleveland. Here, he's not going to be the big guy. Everybody's going to be flocking to the stadium to see DeGrom pitch every fifth day. Everybody wants to see Scherzer for the first time, which, if the season does start on time, Scherzer looking like he's going to pitch in Washington for his first start as a Met. So, and I will be with the 7 line, so that's going to be fun. So, Bieber's going to be the number 3 here if he gets here. Yeah, Familia is another one, but listen, don't talk about Familia. The Mets look like they might bring him back on a 1-year deal, so can't go wrong with chicken. Oh, I did say Justin? Nice. Listen, I'm not gonna lie, I do like a couple of Justin Bieber songs. Come on. It's a little catchy. Hey, listen, when I drive to work late at night to get to work, gotta keep myself up. I gotta listen to music. Whatever plays on Spotify, plays on Spotify. That's the way I see it. So I did say Justin Bieber. All right. So Shane Bieber. Sorry, guys. Sorry. There's a lot of Biebers going around. But thank you for correcting me. Like I said, I think there's a lot of possibilities with this Mets team. I think they have a couple of trade options that are available for them. Luis Castillo, the Jose Ramirez, and possible Shane Bieber. There's also a trade scenario where the Mets can get Taylor Rogers from the Twins, the bullpen guy, the lefty. That might have to add that third baseman that we don't want to talk about too much because I think he's too damn old. But you see, I don't know if the Mets are going to go the trade route right away yet. I think they're going to focus on the free agency period because I think they'd rather spend the money than make a trade and give away prospects. I think that's a worst case scenario because you can always hold your prospects for a trade deadline move if you need it. God forbid if a pitcher goes down and the Mets need another guy in this rotation, they can trade for a guy who is available. So you might want to hold on to your prospects. Same thing with a third baseman if the Mets don't decide to go the third base route and maybe go a Nick Castellanos route. So the Mets will definitely look at the free agent market first. I mean, in years past, the Mets would always look for a trade instead of spending the money because it was cheaper. Now, I wouldn't be surprised if the Mets do either one. And that's something that's amazing to me because I never thought in my lifetime that the New York Mets would have a payroll over $270 million, possible $300 million, which might be the biggest payroll in baseball. And that's just shocking to me, in my opinion. A lot of potential. Top trade, yeah, absolutely. It would be, putting DeGrom, Scherzer, and Bieber 1, 2, 3. I mean, teams are not going to want to face that. And then on top of that, you still have Walker. You still got Carrasco. You got Tyler McGill as your depth piece. So there's possibilities there. And in my opinion, I think Tyler McGill is very good. And I like his demeanor on the mound. He has that Jacob DeGrom demeanor where he doesn't have the stuff like DeGrom, but his stuff is pretty damn good. And I think he's mentally tough. We saw what he did against the Yankees last year in the first game of the series. He was dominant. And I do think the Mets are smart enough to realize that Tyler McGill could be could hit lightning in a bottle with this guy. He was up last year because of injury and he showed what he can do. But we're not expecting him to be a guy that we had to, count on every fifth day. If he's going to be the number 5 starter, I'm fine with that. If the Mets can get another starter like a Shane Bieber, like a Luis Castillo, or a Carlos Rondon, there's a pretty good chance that Tyler McGill is going to be the long man in the bullpen and a depth piece to fill in spot starts here and there, which I wouldn't mind. I don't mind Tyler McGill being a long man in that bullpen that can, come in if a starter is having problems early on. Metallica and Justin Bieber, right? Hey, you gotta do what you gotta do to stay awake. I think they will. I think Freddie Freeman's gonna stay with the Braves, honestly. I think it's a lot of smoke. I know when people say that when there's smoke, there's fire, but I do think the Braves are not stupid enough. Like I said, as a Met fan, let him go to the Yankees. I don't care. That's less times that I have to see him kill us in the NL East. But I think that when it comes to Freeman, I think he's going to be a Brave at the end of the day. The Braves are not going to lose him. I think that would be stupid of them. I know there was some traction with Oakland with they're trying to get Matt Olson. I don't know. But I think Freeman's going to stay with the Braves. McGill as a trade chip, I don't think that's the smart move for the Mets unless the deal is with a pitcher or unless the Mets sign Carlos Rodon. But I feel like McGill is going to be very good in the coming years. I think he's like DeGrom when it comes to his demeanor, and I think he's going to get better with age. And I think it would be wrong for the Mets to trade Miguel. No, you see, I know a lot of people don't. We all don't like the Yankees. I mean, it's more of the Yankee fans that I don't like more than the Yankees themselves. I think the fans make me hate the Yankees a little bit more because I went to school with a lot of Yankee fans in high school. I mean, my entire baseball team were Yankee fans except for one other person. My coach was a huge Yankee fan. His father, my coach's father, knew Mickey Mantle. Like that, I mean, it's crazy. I used to get killed. I went to high school in the early 2000s, from 2001 to 2005. So the Mets weren't very good in those first couple of years. So, I got killed as a Met fan. So I'd rather have Freeman as a Yankee because he's not going to hurt us with the Braves 19 times a year. And they're just showing on Baseball Night in New York about Lindor talking about the lockout. And this was what Lindor said. I forgot to bring this up. I should have brought this up earlier. So we already have a problem with Lindor as fans, right? With the thumbs down, complaining about the booing, all that stuff, right? Rip Rod, how you doing? So this is what Francisco Lindor said today. At the end of the day, we just want a good deal. If that's what it comes down to, we don't want to do it. We want to play the full season, but if that's what it comes down to, we continue to come to the table and bring good things so we're ready. So this was a question asked to Lindor that are the players willing to miss regular season games? So according to Lindor, they are willing to miss regular season games until they get the right deal. So now you got to remember, you're talking to players like Lindor who just made $25 million last year. Ask the guy that made $500,000 last year. The guys who didn't make a lot of money. So that's when you worry. But I think that's just a ploy. These players want their paychecks. Trust me, nobody, I don't care if you're rich or not, nobody is going to want to miss out on their $20 million contract for the year or miss the first month of the season with their salary. Nobody wants that. Rip Rod, let me get what are you saying, buddy? Hey, listen, let's see what happens on Saturday, Rip Rod. Let's see. The proposal is going to be given to the players on Saturday. The way Manfred seemed like he was very confident that he was going to he felt confident in this proposal. So maybe it's a little bit more fair. Like I said, what the owners need to do is get the players approval a little bit on certain things so they can start negotiating the more difficult things, which is revenue sharing, luxury tax, less penalties to the teams. That's what we have to look at. So if what Manfred said, and he feels confident in this proposal, if the players felt like they're giving a proposal in good faith, there might be more negotiation. I mean, they're coming together on a Saturday. They haven't done that yet. They've only met Monday through Friday, only during those days. So to see them meeting on a non-business day is a big deal. So I do feel like, especially with the owners, if the owners feel like they have a good proposal to give to the players that's fair enough where they can actually talk about it and to meet on a Saturday, that's a big deal. That's why I think it's more possibility that spring training could start on time with the first game in the end of February. I think that's possible. So we have to wait and see on that. Christian, I'll get to you in a second. The Cubs, let them get Rizzo. Yeah, exactly. Their first paycheck is the second week of February. Yeah. So again, the players are not stupid. All right. Again, nobody in their right mind wants to lose a paycheck. I don't care if you're making $50,000 a year or $20 million a year. Nobody wants to lose a paycheck. And let's be honest, their paychecks for their first check is a lot of money. These players don't want to lose that because they don't get that back. You got to remember, the owners can find a way to get money back in their pockets that they lost. add in that 50 cents to that soda or that beer. Add in 50 cents or a dollar more to something in the clubhouse shop. Stuff like that, right? So the owners will get their money back. The players are not. So I think it's very look, everybody's like, oh, the players got the owners over a barrel. No, 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 no. At the end of the day, there's a lot of owners that make their money elsewhere to make most of their money. There is some owners that make their money primarily through baseball, but there's a lot of these owners that make their money outside of baseball. So if the season doesn't start, say if the season doesn't go on at all, who's going to lose out more? The players. These players are not going to want to lose a $30 million. You think Max Scherzer wants to lose out on 40-something $1 million? No freaking way. I don't care if he's a player rep or not. You don't want to lose that. So at some point, the players are going to have to give up a little more than they wanted to. If that's revenue sharing, if that's the penalty with luxury taxes, they already got the draft pick compensation out of the way. They got the draft lottery. That's a big deal because teams are not going to tank for the number one anymore. And I'm assuming the MLB draft lottery is going to be similar to the MLB NBA lottery, where the worst record is going to have the bigger percentage, but they're going to have like a bingo ball raffle lottery like that with the ping pong balls. So that's going to be interesting. So they got things. They got the DH. They're going to get the 14-team playoff. They got the draft competition attached to players gone. The draft lottery is going to be new now. So there's a lot of things that the players already got that the owners didn't want in the beginning. Now they got it. That's 4 things. I think if they get one or two more things out of the 10 that they wanted, if you're going to take 6 out of 10, that's 60% what you asked for. That's not bad. You just have to wait and see. Like I said, I'm one of those baseball fans that are going to show up as soon as the day it comes back, if they come on time or not. That's me. Nobody's going to tell me not to show up and boycott the game I love. Some fans might, Rocky. Some fans might. You might. But personally, I'd be back there with my cap on, with my jersey on, my sneakers decked out in orange and blue. It's just what I do. All right. And on top of that, not only does it hurt us as fans because there's no news with the players, with the teams about trades, free agency, but let's be honest, it hurts baseball channels on YouTube. And it does. There's not a lot of news to talk about. Why do you think a lot of these channels like mine, like Wardy's, like Hayden's, like Mets Talk, all of those channels, they were doing a lot more live streams than we normally would during the off season. Because there's not a lot of news. So we just come live to talk about whatever's on our mind, because there's not a lot to talk about. Today was a little different. There's a lot to talk about because Manfred spoke and there was a lot of information in those details. So they're actually talking about on Baseball Night New York, does Michael Conforto to the Yankees make sense? You never know, right? But that is interesting though. But all right, let's keep on getting to your questions. La Potencia, let's see what you got. Scherzer and Cano going to be down. Captain Morgan a foot down the Canyon of Heroes. Wouldn't that be something? I don't know. I honestly don't know what the Cubs are doing. They traded everybody away, and then they got, they signed Stroman. And I mean, if the Cubs get Correa, I don't know what they're doing because they got no pitching. They barely have a team. They got Contreras, who's a pretty damn good catcher. They got Stroman in that rotation, fine. And Correa, it's going to help the Cubs, but are they better than the Brewers? Are they better than the Cardinals? They're a third place team at the moment. I don't know how much further they can catch those two teams. Would the Mets make a run at Clayton Kershaw? I think that would be the last scenario, the last option for the Mets. I think the Mets would rather go after Carlos Rodon or trade for a Luis Castillo or trade for a Sean Manaea or a Bassett or a guy like Shane Bieber. I don't think Clayton Kershaw. I don't think the Mets can afford to put another guy in this rotation that has injuries that are over 32 years old. Kershaw, Carrasco, Scherzer, and DeGrom. I mean, it's basically an AARP in the rotation. I I can't deal with that. I think it's too risky. It's more than enough that we already got guys that are injury prone as it is in DeGrom, Carrasco, and Scherzer. We have to keep those guys healthy. Let's not add another guy that has back issues, who, when healthy, is very dominant, but that's a big if. And I don't think paying him $22-25 million is going to be worth it for a guy who has a lot of back issues. I don't know what the Cubs are doing. Honestly, I thought they were rebuilding. I mean, they didn't get a lot back in any of the trades. They did get Pete Carroll Armstrong for Baez. I'm not sure what they got for Chris Bryant or Rizzo. I don't remember. But they didn't get big time prospects back. The Mets, I think the Mets gave the biggest prospect for any of those three players. So, I mean, I don't care about the Cubs until I face them in the playoffs. Zach Greinke would be a smart move. No. He's another one. I don't think he can pitch in New York. He's got that whole anxiety issue. I don't need another guy like Diaz in the starting rotation. Greinke can pitch in Houston or Oakland or wherever else he wants to pitch. I don't want him here. I don't need no more head cases on this team. No, the extra inning rule was gone. Yeah, the extra inning rule was just for the pandemic, and they just kept that rule for last year. That's not going to happen again. That was a stupid rule. I couldn't stand those games. I hated going to those games. It was just stupid. Extra innings. I wouldn't be surprised if in extra innings they still have the runner on second. But I think they're gonna probably have a runner on second after like the 10th inning or the 11th. So the games don't go 17 or 18 innings. Which again, I don't care. If the game goes 17 innings, I'm the type of person who's gonna be at the game. I don't leave games, unless there's an emergency. I don't leave games ever. So I'm there until the final out. I remember when the Mets played the Indians in 2019. And I remember because I remember I was with my dad at the game. And it rained for hours during the game. And then they suspended the game. I mean, they had a rain delay for like 2.5 hours. We were in the upper deck in 415, just 515, just sitting around, talking, dancing, drinking for hours. And then when they finally called the game, it was like the 14th inning or something. I don't remember. It was just so long. Like I was there from 4 o'clock in the afternoon until like past midnight. But it was fun because I hung out with my friends, with my dad. It was fun. Yes, it sucked that the game wasn't going on. It was chilly. It was raining. It's terrible. But it's the experience. And a lot of people don't like that, but it's still a lot of fun. But the extra innings, I think they'll probably do something like put a runner on second after the 10th inning, which, will speed up the game a little bit. But they have to at least have one inning where it's just regular baseball, no runners on second. Yeah, it was funny. Over the last couple of years, the Mets were left-handed dominant in their out in their batting order, with Nimmo, McNeil, Conforto, Smith. There was a lot of guys in that lineup that were left-handed. So, last year with VR and all that, and then Lindor, there was so many left-handed batters. At least this year with Escobar, with Marte, you got more right-handed. You got a more balanced lineup. Even if you get Chris Bryant, who is I don't think even if you get Chris Bryant, you still got you still have Dominic Smith most likely. There's not a lot of lefties, but you still got Nimmo. So there's it's a little more balanced. I like to have more right-handed bats than left-handed bats, even though I'm biased because I'm a left-handed hitter. I think it's smarter to have more right-handed bats because right-handers hitters see right-handed pitching a lot more than left-handers hitters see left-handed pitching. So I really think it's smart for the Mets to balance that lineup out a little bit more. Yeah, I got back pains, and I could imagine pitching and traveling every day. No, no. Hey, listen, people just like to watch, man. The a couple of what was it? The last stream I had about 60 people in the stream, and like 10 people spoke. It's like a lot of people just like some people are working, so they're just listening. Some people are having dinner, so they're just listening. Some people are playing video games and just listening. So, like I said, I love everybody to tune in and chat a little bit. But if they just want to listen, they just want to listen. It's all good. Christian, this is a good comment. Let me just show that up there. With analytics, the value and prospect returns that teams get back at the deadline has drastically changed. Team used to be more willing to include top prospects in the deal. Yeah. Oh yeah, absolutely. But the way I see it now, Christian, and some people might agree with this or not, but what I've seen over the last couple of years, right? When the Yankees, I'm sorry, not the Yankees. Was it the Yankees? I'm sorry. Yes. When the Yankees traded Aroldis Chapman to the Cubs in 2016, the Cubs gave their top prospect for a reliever, a closer, in Gleyber Torres, which was unheard of to do something like that for a reliever. But the one thing the Cubs needed to solidify their team that year was a closer. And they did everything they can to get that closer, even giving up their number one top prospect in Gleyber Torres. If the New York Mets are in a position where they need a rotation arm or a big bullpen arm, you do whatever it takes to get that arm or that specific player. Because if that's the one player that puts you over the top, there is nobody. Do you think any Chicago Cubs fan is still talking about Gleyber Torres being traded for Chapman when they won the 2016 World Series? I don't think so. And I'm telling you guys right now, if the New York Mets make a trade that they traded Ronnie Mauricio for a big time bullpen arm, if it's a Josh Hader or some big arm that's going to help this bullpen be a big part of the postseason and win this team a World Series, there is nobody 4 years from now is going to complain that the Mets traded Ronnie Mauricio. No matter how good Ronnie Mauricio turns out to be, yeah, you can say, oh, well, if Ronnie Mauricio, but let's be honest, if the Mets didn't make that trade, they probably would have won a World Series. And then what you would have been saying, well, at least we got Mauricio. That's the problem with a lot of fans. And there's too many people that continue to worry about prospects. If anybody hasn't been checking the baseball news lately, do you know the New York Mets are ranked higher prospect-wise than the New York Yankees? They just moved up. The Mets are 15th. The Mets were in the 20s not too long ago, a few years ago. The New York Mets are 15th ranked out of all the teams with their prospects, ranking wise. So that tells me, and what people forget, Dominic Smith, Pete Alonso, Jeff McNeil, Brandon Nimmo, Jacob DeGrom, Tyler McGill, right? We can go on and on with these players. That's 7 players right there. 4 of them are your core players or were your core players that came up from your minor league system. So when anybody tells you that your system is not good, pay attention to the people who specifically talk about the Mets and the farm system. Joe DeMayo, other guys, Pat Ragazzo, guys who specifically focus on the prospects in their system Focus on those guys. They know what they're talking about. Don't look at the ESPN or the top baseball of America, top 100, all that stuff, because these are reporters that are reporting who never seen these players play. They only look at their numbers. Look specific, and that goes for any team. Look at the reporters that specifically write about the farm system on a daily basis. I gave you two names. Joe DeMayo was nice enough to come on about the top 10, top 20 prospects. When he did that, I had him on. If you haven't checked out that video, check it out. Pat Ragazzo is another guy I'm going to work to get on soon. He's another one that's very focused on the Mets farm system. Pay attention to what the farm system. The Mets were ranked 2 years ago. They were in the 20th and 21st ranked prospect list team in all of baseball. Now they're 15th. That's a big deal. So the Mets have assets to move if they need to move them. And the Mets can't hold on to every prospect praying that they're going to be good. Now, when you talk about Alvarez and Beatty, who are untouchable, fine. But anybody else, you use those assets to get that one player that can turn your season around and possibly win you a World Series. You see it every year. There's one team that makes that big move that puts them over the top. Now, the Braves, they got a whole new outfield that changed the course of their season and got them a World Series. They didn't give up a lot of prospects, but they did use their assets to get these guys. And they got a World Series. Do you think the Braves fans care about the prospects they gave up? No, you got a World Series. That ring matters more than a prospect. You guys have to remember that. Grant, how you doing? Thank you for tuning in. How many guys are going to come to spring training? Surprisingly, Jack. I know you're probably not really joking because it's probably true. But in all honesty, though, can Major League Baseball suspend these players? If they started taking steroids today, knowing that they're not going to get tested because Major League Baseball is not testing them, and the lockout ends, say, in 2 weeks. In that 2-week span, if they take the steroids, can Major League Baseball suspend them when there was no rules or no testing done? That's going to be interesting. But we'll see. We'll have to wait and see, right? Let's hope that none of these players are stupid enough. There will be some are stupid enough to get caught when this lockout ends. Yeah, exactly, La Potencia. I think it's important to realize that right-handed batters see right-handed pitching so much more than hitters see left-handed pitching. So you have to make sure you understand that when it talks about balancing a lineup, you don't always have to have lefty, righty, lefty, righty, lefty, righty. You need guys who see pitches a lot more than another batter. Like, God knows how many times Nimmo, Conforto, Dominic Smith, McNeil, all those guys. I mean, we had so many, Lindor, VR. At one time, we had 7 left-handed batters in a lineup. Yes, 2 of them were switch hitters, but when there's a right-handed pitcher on the mound, they're all left-handed. So when VR and Lindor was in this lineup, along with the other guys that were left-handed as well, you can have, on a given day, 6 or 7 guys that were left-handed in this lineup. That's not something that the Mets should deal with. You're not playing at Yankee Stadium here, where left-handers are a necessity when you're in Yankee Stadium or on the Yankees. And it's better. I'd rather have 5 or 6 right-handers with 2 or 3 sprinkled left-handers in the lineup, which now the Mets do. At the moment, they have 3. Technically. Depending on who you want to be in this lineup, I'm going to go say Dominic Smith is going to be on this team, but not Jeff McNeil. So you'll have Dominic Smith, you'll have Brandon Nimmo, and you have Francisco Lindor. Obviously, Lindor is a switch hitter. So when you look at it, having 6 right-handers with 3 left-handers is perfect because you can split those guys up. Nimmo's going to be in the top of the lineup. You're going to have Dominic Smith hitting around 6th or 7th. And Lindor is going to be in the middle of your lineup, probably 3rd. So it makes sense for the Mets to have more right-handed bats than left-handed bats. Let's see. He's got some Hall of Fame talk here. Hey, Steven, what's up? I see some fun to watch. It was, yes. Yeah, exactly. You know, 9 out of 10 times lefty pitchers usually get the advantage over lefty hitters, because again, these lefty hitters don't see a lot of left-handed pitchers. And then you get the lefties that are side armors, that are submariners, you get left-handers that just throw three quarters. And it's I can tell you as a left-handed hitter, facing lefties was a pain in the freaking ass. You know, every time they throw the ball, it looks like it's going to hit you. It's just that simple. You just have to be so with your hand-eye coordination. You got to be so specific on the spin of the ball, seeing if there's a slider, you seeing that dot in the ball, seeing the rotation of a curveball. Sometimes with the changeup, it's hard because it looks similar to a four-seamer. I can tell you as a left-handed hitter, I used to hate facing left-handed hitters on pitchers. Granted, I was pretty deep, I wasn't a big power hitter. I was more of a contact guy, but I wasn't bad with left-handed pitchers, but I did not like facing left-handed pitchers. Exactly, Christian. It's always a risk. I'm thinking when it comes to the Mets lineup at this current time, I do think the top four in this lineup is going to be Marte, Nimmo, Lindor, Alonso. So right there, I don't mind having back-to-back uh, guys in a lineup in the front part of the lineup because I don't think it's too much of a situation. I worry when it's around the middle of the lineup, like 4, 5, 6. I think that's a problem. But again, Marte should be the leadoff hitter because he's a stolen base threat. Nemo should be a number two hitter because he takes pitches, he works the count, which gives the opportunity for Starlin Marte to steal a base. Lindor, I think he's a perfect number three hitter because even though he doesn't hit for a lot of power, he can always hit that home run over the wall every now and then, driving in a couple of runs. But he is a doubles machine, which is perfect for when Alonso comes up, putting men on base for the big boppers. Yeah, I'm still iffy with Dominic Smith as well, but I don't trust McNeil anymore. I don't. I think he totally went away from who he was as a contact hitter who worked the count, bat over 300. I don't think he wants to be that guy, and somebody needs to tell him that, hey, Jeff, you are not a power hitter. You will never be a power hitter. I looked at Jeff McNeil the same way I looked at Daniel Murphy before he went insane in the playoffs. He was a guy who was a doubles machine, worked the count, always put bat on ball. That's who I thought Jeff McNeil was going to be. Jeff McNeil is a guy, again, I told you this guy is in the last couple of streams. Jeff McNeil is useless batting sixth, seventh, or eighth in this lineup. And last year, he batted in that spot a lot. Because when you have a guy who is not working the counts and not putting bat on ball, you cannot put him in the leadoff spot and you can't put him in the number two spot. Jeff McNeil is a number one or number two hitter. If he doesn't put bat on ball, if he doesn't have a high on base percentage, doesn't work the count, he is not worth putting in the leadoff spot or the number two spot. So the problem is, why would you put in Jeff McNeil sixth, seventh, or eighth when those are the guys where you need the guy in the sixth, seventh spot who is a home run type of threat, but is also a guy who can get on base. Jeff McNeil is not that guy. So Jeff McNeil is in no man's land in this lineup right now, unless he was going to be that 300 hitter that we saw in 2019. Because if he's not, the Mets are better off trading him for an asset. You know what, Stoney? I think honestly, everybody's bullpen is a crapshoot every year, in my opinion. I think one year you can have a hot bullpen, and the year after that, they could be the worst bullpen in baseball. I think it's a crapshoot. That's why when people talk about we need this bullpen guy, we need that bullpen guy, I can't believe we lost Loop. let's be honest, guys. Does anybody think that Aaron Loop is going to have the year he had last year under a 1 ERA? I doubt it. Because you got to remember now, he is the guy in with the Angels now. He is the guy. So besides Iglesias, who is one of the best closers in baseball with the Angels, Aaron Loop is the only other guy they got. With the Mets, at least they had Diaz, at least they had Trevor May. There was other guys. Aaron Loop is not going to have another year like he had last year. So one thing about bullpen is that if you had a bad bullpen, there's a pretty good chance that your bullpen's probably going to be better than the year before, and vice versa. If you had a really good bullpen last year, there's a pretty good chance that they're probably not going to be as good as last year. So take the bullpen with a grain of salt. Go into the season with the guys you think are going to be part of this bullpen. Let them pitch. Let them perform. Worst case scenario, if they're not performing to their capabilities, that's when you do trades. That's when you bring up a guy from the minors, see what he got. You can always do something with the bullpen during the trade deadline. Grant's talking about the Hall of Fame. Well, I think the new the new committee with analytics. I don't think it's more analytics. I think it's just more of the fact that with the new committee, with the guys who are off the ballot and have the chance to be in the Hall of Fame based on the committee, I think the committee has more common sense than the writers. Keith Hernandez has a really good shot. He should be in the Hall of Fame. He was the best defensive first baseman ever in baseball. There's no doubt about that. He wasn't the greatest hitter. He was good offensively, but he was the best defensive first baseman in history. He should be in the Hall of Fame. His glove should just not be in the Hall of Fame. The plaque of Keith Hernandez with the known mustache should be in the Hall of Fame. Sledge, what's up? Sledge, your lips to God's ears, buddy. Let's go. Lenny Dykstra? No. He was never good enough. He was a pesky, really good player for the Mets and for the Phillies, but he never had the numbers to be a Hall of Famer. I mean, he was good for a couple of years with decent numbers, pretty good numbers, but no. Yeah, that's basically him. Him and Backman. Boy, those are some fun times. Could you imagine being on the plane or in the dugout or in the clubhouse with the 86 Mets? God, that was a fun time with prostitutes and drugs and liquor. Oh my Lord. Fun stuff. You know, I wouldn't mind another frontline reliever, but a guy like Taylor Rogers you have to trade for. There's not a lot of big time arms, bullpen wise, that are still available. So it's just a matter of getting a guy that can fit your bullpen. That's important. Yeah, that old timers game, that would have been interesting, right? Oh man. August 27th. Can't wait to be there. Let's go. I got that shirt, Grant. Party like it's 1986. I have that shirt from the 7 line. Party like it's 1986. I love that shirt. Oh, fun times. Fortunately, I wasn't born to see that. I just watched all the documentaries. I watched all the games from that 86 season and playoffs and World Series with the whole fun times. Yeah, exactly. Going back to McNeil, guys, you know, that was the biggest problem with Jeff McNeil. We loved that he was a hard nosed player, got his jersey dirty every time, felt like he gave it his all at every at bat. But when you have a guy that you count on to be in the leadoff spot or the number 2 spot, remember, Jeff McNeil and Brandon Nimmo were deadly in 2019, batting 1-2, whichever position he wanted them to be. The bigger problem was Jeff McNeil turned into a power hitter or tried to turn into a power hitter. He did hit more home runs in 2019, but it did not progress the way he expected. I don't think he expected. I think he expected to still hit 300 while still hitting 25 home runs. You can't do that. It's very hard to do that. There's not many players that can do that. And I think Jeff McNeil got too home run happy that he totally lost his way. I mean, he didn't lose 10 points off his average. He lost 30 to 40 points off his average. Jeff McNeil was a 320 hitter, 330 hitter. He was batting 260 the last 2 years. That's a major drop off. And you can't count on a guy who you need to be a 300 hitter in this lineup and be a 260 hitter because he's pointless for this team, because he's not going to hit 20 home runs. So it's unfortunate because I like McNeil, but if you can get an arm for him, do it. Excuse me. Straw and Piazza. Can't go wrong there. Now, I mean, my dad told me stories about the 86 Mets. Like I remember my dad told me one time he was in the city with a couple of his friends in the 80, I think it was 86, 85, 86. And he was at some bar in the city. And he ran into Backman, Orozco, and I think it was Tuffle, if I'm not mistaken, in the bar. And he actually got their autographs. He talked to them for a little bit. I don't remember if he took a picture with him, but back then nobody had phones like that. So, unless you had a camera, disposable camera, you weren't taking pictures. So, but he did talk to them. He did get their autographs. I think my dad actually has the cards still. I would have to ask him that. If he does have them, I would show you them. You know what, though? I ain't gonna lie. I'm one of those guys that, I was 11. Yeah, about 11 or 12 years old during that Mark McGwire, Sammy Sosa home run race. Like I said, I couldn't wait to watch them every night. Every time they were on, when they faced each other, hitting home runs back and forth, it was great. That brought baseball back to what everybody loved about it. Until, we found out that everybody and their mother was taking steroids. But you can't get everything, right? But that was fun times for sure. So, got about 20 minutes left, guys. So let me backtrack all the way from the beginning for the people who are still that didn't hear the beginning of the stream. Before I say go in reverse here, please hit on that like button, guys, if you haven't yet. And if you're new to the channel, don't be afraid to hit on that subscribe button, guys. Check out the recent videos that I did regarding Marte and the lockout and other. If you want to check out, like I said, there's one video with the prospects with Joe DeMayo that is new for 2022. If you haven't checked that out, please do. It's a very interesting. He goes very in depth in the top 10 of each of those top prospects, and we even talk a little bit about guys from 11 to 20 that he thinks can break the top 10 in 2023. So if you haven't checked that out yet, please do. It's up, still going strong. So check that out if you haven't already. So once again, guys, please hit on that like button and subscribe to the channel. If you want to become a member to join Talkin Mets with Rob, you're going to start getting a lot of perks when the season starts, and you will get exclusive live streams just for you members. So if you want to become a member, please do. Don't be shy to click on that join button. And the free giveaways are for members only. So if you become a member, you will have access to some cool some cool giveaways like this Citi Field replica right there. Apple bobblehead. Jacob deGrom. Sorry, I think my camera froze. Sorry about that, guys. There we go. Jacob deGrom, 2 Cy Young bobblehead. All these are giveaways that I'm going to do during the season. So you got to become a member to do that. So the quicker you become a member, the quicker you're going to be able to get access to all these perks. So once again, guys, going back to the MLB lockout and the discussion we had earlier about Rob Manfred, and the new rules or the new part of the CBA that's agreed upon. Two things, well, about four things so far. Universal DH that is approved by both sides. So DH in the National League, DH in the American League. Some people might be pissed off about that, but a little bit of bias as a Met fan, you should be happy because it helps this team keep their pitchers healthy. The second thing, the draft lottery. There will not be worst record in baseball gets the number one pick anymore. I'm assuming they're going to do it like the NBA where they have ping pong balls. The top 10 worst records are going to have ping pong balls in the raffle to and the team that has the most ping pong balls are going to have the worst record. They have the highest percentage, but you're never going to be the worst team in baseball and get the first pick, which I like. Less tanking. We always like that. Third thing, draft pick compensation that is connected to players that get qualifying offers. That is no longer going to be the case. So when this lockout ends, guys like Carlos Correa, guys like Nick Castellanos are not going to have draft picks attached to them now. So teams like the Mets that were weary of signing these guys, losing a draft pick, no longer a concern. And the last thing, 14-team playoff. That's another thing that's probably going to get approved. So four things out of the seven big problems that were problems with this CBA. There's still a few things with revenue sharing, luxury tax, and salary implications for younger players. Those three things are going to be talked about in the CBA. Let's wait until Saturday. I will be going live on Saturday to discuss the proposal. We'll get a lot more details on Saturday about it. So those are the things. You got the universal DH, 14-team playoff, draft lottery, and draft pick compensation that is not attached to players anymore. So those are the four big news that Rob Manfred talked about in his press conference. The other big thing, they did not delay spring training games specifically. Even by the end of next week, if there's no deal done, spring training games might be a little bit pushed back. But if the deal gets done by the end of next week, spring training, February 26th and 27th, when it starts, there will be spring training starting on time. So let's hope that happens. So those are your news updates for the MLB Lockout with Rob Manfred's press conference today. The other thing that we talked about the possibility of the Mets now getting a chance to get Nick Castellanos and Carlos Correa because there's no draft pick compensation attached to them. That's a big deal. Of course, we heard the news about the Mets going above or close to $300 million for their payroll. That means one big bat, one big arm. Can it be Carlos Rodon? Can it be Chris Bryant? Can it be Carlos Correa? Can it be Luis Castillo? Can it be Clayton Kershaw? Can it be Shane Bieber? Can it be? It can be anybody you want, guys. The Mets are going to be very active when this lockout ends. So those are all the things that we talked about. There was a lot of hold on, guys. There's a lot of comments here. Let me just check it on YouTube right now. If you go to my channel page specifically, so let me pop it up real quick. Let me turn the volume down. All right. So, oops. All right. So if you're on your phone, I don't know if you guys can see it, but you can. Okay. So give me a second, guys. Let me just pop it up real quick. Let me just pop up my channel. But I'm going to go right to the live video. Just give me a second, guys. All right, here we go. I'm going to share my screen in a second. Just let me mute it because you're going to get the background noise. All right. All right, guys. I'm going to share my screen really quick, so just give me a second. All right. All right, so I'm going to lower it. I'm going to send it down a little bit. All right, if you're watching it on a desktop, right? you're going to see right over here, it says join. All you got to do is click on it, and it takes you right to the membership. There's three different memberships. You'll see the perks when you look at it. You get emojis, you get loyalty badges, all that fun stuff. All right, guys. So you get an introduction to why to become a member, and these are all the options: the orange and blue package, the Shea Stadium membership, and the You Gotta Believe membership. Each one has more perks. So hopefully you guys can see that. Do you got it, La Potencia? Stoney, the cost is two different ones. There's $1.99, $4.99, and $14.99. So basically, when you become a member, it really depends. Like I said, the bigger membership, the You Gotta Believe membership, is $14.99. But don't be alarmed by the price, because you will. These are the where you get the big giveaways, the jersey giveaways, the big bobblehead giveaways. The big I have lineup cards from World Series past and playoff past, those type of things, and you get all the other perks as well that come with everything else. The member only live streams, you get access to my videos before anybody else. Again, it's your choice what do you want to do, the smallest amount, the bigger amount, but again, the more the bigger the membership, the more perks you get. So just look at that. So La Potencia, did you see what I'm saying? Okay, so on the phone, if you keep your phone straight like this, it's right under where you see the like button, and it says Talkin Mets with Rob. There's a join button right there. It's in blue, or it might be in red in your phone. So there you go, guys. All right, so yeah, so when you're on your phone, just keep your phone up straight like this, right? And if you see that little blue button, I don't know if you can see it. Yeah, it's not very nice. It's very hard to see. But right on the phone, underneath the like button, you're gonna see Talkin Mets at Rob, and right underneath that is the join button. Or just go to my channel page, which you can click on my logo, and it'll take you right to the channel, and the join button's right there as well. All right. No, Christian. It's already been said by Rob Manfred, and it also said by Jeff Passan and a lot of Joel Sherman, all those reporters. When the CBA is over, and the rules that are in place for the qualifying offer is going to affect these new players. That's the deal. That's part of the offer that they gave to the players. That is going to be approved by the players. So it's not going to. It's already ended. The CBA is ended. So whatever that date is that the lockout ends, that CBA goes into effect. So that's already been said by Rob Manfred and others that reported it. Hey, Maham, how you doing? All right, Stoney. You see, Grant, that's a good thing. I don't know how they're going to do that. I think that's already because right before the lockout, that was still part of the CBA. So I'm assuming they're going to abide by the old CBA before the lockout. But anything after the lockout is going to be with the new CBA. That's the only thing I can think of. All right, guys. So I'm going to go through the thing one more time, right? So when you're on a desktop or on a phone, when you're watching the stream, right? Let me just do this one more time, guys. Okay. So, all right. So where you see hold on one second, guys. Let me just pull this screen up. Okay. So when you see under the like button right here, And it should be the same for the mobile phone because I'm looking at it right now as well. Where the like button is, you're going to see Talkin Mets With Rob, right? You can click on it and it goes right to my channel, and then you have the join button right there. Or on the mobile phone, it's either underneath Talkin Mets With Rob where it says join. In my case, it's on my desktop, it's right on the right side of it. So that's something that you guys can look at, but you guys will figure it out. You guys are smart. You guys know what's going on. All right, so I'm thinking the draft pick. Anything before the lockout is gonna abide by the old CBA. Anything post lockout is gonna go by the new CBA. That's why when I brought up the draft pick compensation attached to players that is no more, that's why I brought up Castellanos to the New York Mets. All right, guys. So I'm gonna bring it up. So once again, when you figure it out, you can become a member of Talkin Mets With Rob. Today, you get exclusive perks. There's 3 different memberships. There's orange and blue, which is $1.99. There's Shea Stadium, which is $4.99, and there's You Gotta Believe for $14.99. There is a big gap in the third one because there's a lot more perks that you can get. You'll get exclusive photos only for You Gotta Believe members. When I'm at games, you'll get videos when I'm at games, like 20, 30-second clips, stuff like that I'm going to put on the community post just for you guys that are You Gotta Believe members. And again, if you become a member, either one, you always get member live streams. Again, I'm going to need about 10 to 15 to 20 members to do that because I'm not going to go live for one member because that's a little weird. So, I rather have a community of people around 20, maybe more. So we build a relationship because, again, guys, becoming members of the channel, you get all the perks that other people will not get, even if you're a subscriber. Yes, you get the videos. Yes, you'll get live streams, but you also get other perks, giveaways, not specifically for subscribers. You'll get it for members. You'll get different perks. You'll get tickets to the game. If you're in New York, you get tickets to the game. You can come with me. You can possibly get 2 tickets depending on if I can go or not. If you're on the road, if you're coming to a city, if you live in a city where I'm going and you win a raffle, I will take you to the game. Stuff like that. But you have to be a member. So take care of that. Figure that out, guys. Just go on my channel. Any video that you watch, look underneath the like button. You'll see the join button if you're on the phone, or it's on the right side of Talkin Mets With Rob underneath the video. It's all right there. Frank, I don't know about Freddie Freeman. Jose, how you doing? No, Jose, exactly. The 86 team did not take shit from nobody. Don't worry, buddy. Okay, Stoney got it. That's good. Sean got it. Yes, you got to close the chat window, guys. Because if you have the chat window open, it takes away everything except for the video. So take away the Sean. I gotta put that up there. Close the chat window, and it's right next to his name. Thank you, Sean. And then once again, guys, if you do become a member, it will pop up probably when I go into my account and I'll look at it. And then when you become members, you're gonna get the logo that's gonna come up on the chat. It's called the member badge. There's different colors for the amount of months you've been a part, be a member from the channel. All different colors, which is kind of cool. And then when you become a member, you get them custom emojis that look like this. Let me see if I can see what we got here. Hold on, guys. Do, do, do. Give me a second. Let me just pop it up. I'll show you the emojis really quick. So there's some emojis that I'm going to pop up right now. You're going to see it. There you go. I think you guys can see it. It shouldn't be an issue. Might have popped up. I'm not 100% sure because I did it on my phone. See if I do it here. Just give me a second, guys. I want to show you the emojis because it's pretty cool. I made it. Again, it does cost money to do all those perks. So it's out of my pocket too. Don't worry, guys. Like I said, I already did a couple of giveaways. I gave a bobblehead away. I gave a jersey away. So, there's so many things that I have or that I'm going to buy that is going to be a part of the members giveaways. So, oh, sorry, guys. That's what I was supposed to do. All right. So let me, I'm going to mute it again, pause it and mute it. All right. What was I going to do? Oh, yeah. There we go. Just give me a second. I'm going to try to put all right, here we go. Boom, 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 boom. All right. Now it should go. All right, guys. So let me see if it popped up now. Sean, all right, you're a new member. Perfect. Oh, no. So what it is, it's a monthly subscription, Stony. So again, all right, Sean, thank you for becoming a member. All right, guys. So it's a monthly subscription. So basically every month, uh, it takes out whatever membership you have, $1.99, $4.99, $14.99, and what happens is once there's a certain amount of members, that's when some of the perks kick in, like the live streams. Like YouTube won't let me do member only live streams until I have 15 members. When I have 15 members, then I can do personal live stream for you guys. Whatever that might be, whatever might be in-game live stream, stuff like that. When I get to 20 and above, then I can do all the perks. But once again, the bigger the giveaway, the bigger the member, right? So there's different memberships. So the $1.99 is going to get, smaller giveaways. The $4.99 is going to give medium-sized giveaways. And then the granddaddy of them all, the $14.99, the You Gotta Believe package membership, you will get specific giveaways like the big time bobbleheads, replica City Field. You'll get tickets. You'll get old scorecards that I bought from the Queens Baseball Convention that were not cheap. That I'm going to be giving away as well. So once again, Sean, thank you becoming a member of the channel. He figured it out. That's cool. And also, Bill a couple of weeks ago became the first member, and he already is going to get something because he became the first member. So Sean, thank you for becoming a member, and I really do appreciate it. It's all right, Sean. That's all right. As long as you enjoy it, it's perfect. That's all I care about. Again, guys, if you're on the phone, well, like I said, I actually thought $14.99 was a little expensive, honestly. I want to be honest about that. But apparently it's a good idea, uh, according to YouTube, that to have a little bit of a gap, because according to YouTube, the real members of your channel, the subscribers that want to support you, usually get a lot of Grant, thank you so much. He became another member as well. Thank you. So Sean and Grant just became members. I really do appreciate it. So once again, guys, you will see the badges next to your name. The purple Talkin Mets With Rob logo badge is the first couple of months. After that, your badges are going to change colors based on the amount of time you become a member. So there's 3 so far, guys. So that's great. So again, I'll never tell you which membership to choose. If you want to upgrade, you can upgrade at any moment. But if you just want to get the $1.99 one, it's all good. So exactly. So you get them that emojis that a lot of people like to use, which is pretty cool. Uh, I really like those logos. You get the DeGrom logo, you get the LFGM logo. It's pretty cool. I'm gonna make a few more. Again, after I get 15 members, I can put more emojis on there for all you guys. So again, these emojis I made myself. They're not easy to make. Trust me, it's not easy to make them that small and to put them the exact pixels that YouTube needs. But I really do hope, hopefully, you guys appreciate it and have fun with it. And hopefully, you guys enjoy becoming a member because it's going to be a lot of fun. When the season starts, that's when the perks are going to really start happening because I like to go to a lot of games. I like to go live, and these live streams are going to be members only. When I go live during the fifth inning, some of you guys have been subscribers for a while. If you were with me during the season, I used to go live to every game I attend during the fifth inning. And now it's only going to be member exclusive for the fifth inning. So if you're not a member, you're not going to be able to see the fifth inning live stream that I do. It's pretty cool. What I do, I walk around the stadium. You get the sound of the game. I give you the play-by-play. We talk. We have fun. I'll give you zoom up, of my ugly face, and then I'll turn the camera around to the field and look at the fans. So it's a lot of fun. So hopefully you guys enjoy that. So right now we got Bill, we got Sean, and we got Grant, new members of the channel. I really do appreciate it, guys. So again, a little bit past 7 o'clock, but that's okay, right? We were having fun. So once again, guys, I really do appreciate all the support. Once again, Bill, Sean, and Grant, thank you for becoming members. La Potencia, Stony, when you figure it out, I know you guys are gonna figure it out. So when you do, I really do appreciate it. I will shout you guys out on every time you come up on a live stream, because you are a member. That's one of the perks, only one. So once again, guys, you are in the running now for free giveaways. Depending on your membership, I will let you know what giveaways are for specific memberships, and we will get that rolling as well. Yeah, I got them on my phone, honestly. I can do it on my phone. I'm not on my account. I'm on a separate account, so I can see if it works. But it does pop up on mine. I don't know if you guys can see it, but it does. I know it's blurry. It sucks, but with the light, it showed up on mine. So and it showed up on the desktop as well as I'm looking at it. So, but you can sometimes you just have to click on the not your emoji, because you'll have your either Android or iPhone emoji happy face thing. You got to go on the YouTube one and you'll find the emojis there. There you go, Grant. You see? See, I can see it. Hey, Cameron, how you doing? I'm just about to run off, but let me just get your who do you think the Mets should get? In my opinion, Chris Bryant and Rodon, but because of the draft pick compensation that is not attached to the players anymore, they can go after Nick Castellanos now. I think that's a big thing that we have to look out. Okay, cool, Sean. I think that's one of the things that the Mets should do. Yeah, exactly, Stoney. I think you pulled up right along the end of the season, and at the end of the year, I only went to like couple of more games, so you might have missed that. But again, in the fifth inning, I go live when I'm at. It doesn't matter if I'm on the road or at home. I go to the game, fifth inning, I go live almost every time, and you get the sounds of the game, you get the play-by-play, we just talk about the game in general, and it's a lot of fun. A lot of people like this, so I'm going to do it for the members. So hopefully you're going to have fun with that. All right, guys. So don't forget to hit on that like button, guys. I really appreciate all the support, guys. Everybody, Bill, Sean, Grant, I know La Potencia, and excuse me, and Stony are going to be members real soon. So once again, guys, I really do appreciate Stone. There you go, Stony. You got it. You got it, buddy. You got it. See, takes a little bit of time, but it all works out at the end. Stony, thank you. So now we got Grant, we got Bill, we got Stony, we got Sean, all members of Talkin Mets with Rob. Couple of more. We got about 10 more members to go. So next time you guys come on, let's get more people to join the channel, and we're gonna have a lot of fun. Remember, as soon as we get the 15 members, we can have those live streams, which will be a lot of fun as well. All right, guys. So I'm gonna catch you guys later. I really do appreciate the support. Don't forget to hit on that like button, hit on that subscribe button, share the channel, share the stream, share videos that you like on your social media pages so we can get this channel out to more people. The more people, the better, the more fun we are going to have. All right, guys. So have a good night, guys. Thanks for the support. And as always, Met fans, let's go Mets. Have a good night, guys. All right, love attention. Have a good night, guys. Thank you.